It is the Boneyard Podcast. I'm Matt Mosley. I'm with Coach Corey Campbell. And Coach, as we tape this on Monday, you have a off week coming up. Won't be an off week for you guys. You'll have to, figure out exactly how you want to use this. But another tough one. I mean, I would say silver lining wise, you're going to be as battle tested as anybody. In fact, at a Baylor game against Air Force the other day, I ran into a former coach, and he had been watching y'all. And his response, without me giving him any prompting, is Lake Highlands will take on all comers. And he was impressed with how you schedule non-conference and how you're tested. But again, that one, I guess I'll start by saying when you were talking to the players after the game, and I think a lot of people would like to say, it's tough because you hate to lose, but you got to get their attention. What was your message to the team, if you can share a little bit of that with us?
Sure. I think, as we've talked before, there's two different responses. And I think that first one's an emotional response. I told the staff, Friday or Thursday night, it was a tough one. I've been doing it 25 years, and losing on the last play of the game, is a part of that emotional response. So in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment, I just told the guys that, at the end of the day, we'll go back to work. I told them that, we're going to get in that foxhole together, and, I would be their biggest fan. I think as you step away from it and the response becomes less and less emotional, we have to evaluate, a little bit of ourselves and why did that happen? And from an overall perspective, I felt like our defense played really well. There were times, obviously, we've got to be better on that side of the ball. In that last drive, that it stings. But offensively, you can't have the ball in the red zone 4 times and get a field goal. I think that's really the difference in the game. We fumbled on the 9-yard line. We had a touchdown called back inside the 5. We missed a field goal. And when you play good teams like Flower Mound, you can't get down there and continue to give them opportunities. And I think that's really what we did. We just gave them another opportunity and another opportunity. And, that's on me as the head coach. And we've just got to find a way to finish those drives and be better. And that's kind of, as you take the emotion out of it on a Monday here in a bye week. I know coaches will talk about, you got to get back to the fundamentals. You got to do this, you got to do that. But we've got to figure out a way to finish in that area. We were a little out of sorts at times, I felt like, Friday night. Probably leaned on our quarterback a little too much. Things got a little hairy when Christian went down in the second series of the game. And we practiced that stuff, so it wasn't like we weren't ready. But at the end of the day, like I said, when it really rubber meets the road, we've got to finish. We've got to put our defense in a better position. Because if you go back and look now, that's 2 games. We had the ball with 2 minutes and 37 seconds left against Forney, and we don't finish. And then the other night against Flower Mound, 4 times in the red zone. And then I haven't even talked about the touchdown that we dropped in the end zone. So, and again, you're getting into just opportunities. And when you play good teams, that'll come back and bite you. And it did. It did on Thursday. And like I said, going forward, I told the kids, and I'll tell them today. The slate right now is everybody 0-0 as we get ready for district play. We've already started working on Pierce a little bit, and they're a lot like Flower Mound. They're going to throw it all over the lot. They've got they got a really good quarterback and running back. Their receiving core is really good. They're coached well. And so it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah. And, I was just thinking about who you were talking about with the drop touchdown. He also made an incredible catch earlier in the game. So obviously there's some great talent there. And of course, if y'all, and you had issues with that. If you think about it, y'all had a great season last year. There were some drops earlier in the year, and then some of those same people made huge plays later in the season. So hopefully that's a sort of a growing opportunity. Will you walk me through, as you and Paz look at that final um, sequence of plays? You know, what it looked like is you were trying to keep everything in front of you. At least that was the thought. And of course, as long as you're about midfield or even maybe to your own 40, that's okay. But then it was too much, too many chunks. What do you, when y'all kind of look back and have gone back, and I'm sure ad nauseum you've reviewed that, what would you like to do differently there?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we knew, we felt like that when it got to a certain about a minute, minute and a half, we felt like that, they were going to get in a mode of trying to throw the ball. And then you kind of have to look at the field position of, are they going to settle for a field goal? Are they going to try to throw in the end zone? When it gets right down to those final seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we played a little man under, 2-man. Some part of our speed package was in there at the end. He was a left-handed quarterback, and they had the ball in the left hash. Left middle, and that last sequence, that last play, I would have liked for our safety in that 2-man package to be a little bit more, to be over in that area a little bit more than right down the middle of the field. I think if we had to go back, I think that would have helped us. But again, Matt, we can sit here and talk about the last drive and all the things that we wish we would have done, but to me, and it happens in football, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, where you can go back and say this play, that, but ultimately and I know I've already alluded to it, but offensively we needed to finish and we did. And that's my focus going forward, is preparing our team to do that in a much better clip.
All right. And the Boneyard has been active, by the way. We had 2 people reach out wanting to sponsor the Boneyard podcast. In fact, there's a new sports drink. I meant to bring you one today, Coach. We'll get it up here. I think they want to have some product placement with us. And so that'll be exciting moving forward. In fact, I have a call on that today. Joe Terrio, the Terrio family is a great family, and he's a good buddy of mine. And he is sponsoring this week's podcast, and that is Lawyers Title Company. And Coach, I know you're thinking about getting a second home over here. I would love to help you out there. He runs 2 offices in Dallas. One is at Preston Center, the other at the Tom Thumb Shopping Center at Mockingbird and Abrams. And that's the closest title office to Lake Highlands. You've seen another one of my sponsors for another venture is Marable Homes. You see them building a lot of beautiful homes. So people are closing on houses left and right. If you're buying or selling a house in East Dallas, they can be your title company. And Joe is the title attorney and always available with questions. And again, that is Lawyers Title Company. And Coach, we'll have to get, maybe Joe has like a T-shirt or something we can put on in the future to really get some product placement going. The website is dfw.ltic.com. That's dfw.ltic.com. And it's great to have Joe and the Terrio family. And you were talking about some of your great scout team last week in our Unsung Hero Award, and Christopher's name came up. So very cool to have Joe involved. And he's mainly just, I think he wanted to use this opportunity to brag on his Aggies and your Aggies, I might add, for that victory over Florida. I know you don't get to watch a lot of other football, but you did have your backup quarterback. I believe his name's Marcel Reed or something. He went in, played extremely well. So anyway, just
it's good to know.
Keep you updated on your Aggies. Okay, back to it on the Boneyard podcast. Walk us through. I don't want to just go one by one on sort of controversial things, but I think there were some big plays in that game. One was you get a touchdown and it gets nullified, and I guess they called offensive pass interference. Well, I know they called that, but my gut was telling me that was they thought there was some kind of pick play involved. Walk us through the play as it's intended to be run and what you saw on that.
Yeah, it's just it's an under scheme, a zero beater in the red zone, and it's pretty simple. I mean, if you're pressed up, you do something. If you're uncovered, then you do something else. And it's set up exactly how we practice it. And unfortunately, it looked like that they anticipated the pick. When you get down there, rubbin's racing, right? And
Yes.
we coach our guys not to make contact, and it was frustrating because there wasn't any contact. But at the same time, again, going back to you know, one play doesn't make the game, and so it wasn't a huge spot. We hit that touchdown pass and we go up 6, would have been 7, and then the game's very different. But that wasn't the case. We were flagged, unfortunately. Um, and sometimes those things happen down there. You just, I talk to the officials a lot before in pregame and stuff about things that we do, and what it may appear to look like and what it really is and stuff like that. And then you kind of go back and you second guess yourself, saying, should I have said anything to them? Because man, we really got picked big time in the first half on that big touchdown they had down the middle. And so at halftime, I told them, I said, hey, look, this new technology that high school football has been allowed, these iPads, I got to go in at halftime and I got to watch the clip. I said, so just keep an eye on if they pick us again. And then I go back, about 3:00 in the morning on Friday morning. I'm like, God, should I have told them that? Because they called the pick on us.
Mm.
And that's part of that red zone stuff. I mean, you see it in college football and the NFL. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way in that aspect. But again, one play, didn't make the difference right there.
Yeah.
Harrison, man, he played tremendous. And he had the fumble inside the 10. That was a killer. Again, we mentioned the drop ball and we missed a field goal and stuff like that. Those are the things that when I talk to the team that we've got to concentrate on more than the penalty at the end.
It was a fun moment though to, what put y'all up 17-14. Aiden Delgado hits I guess it was a 39-yard field goal. And so I think there was a lot of frustration probably off that missed field goal, but to come out there, execute it when you had to do it, it just seemed like the whole sideline, the whole stands, everybody was going crazy. So in some ways, well, you put yourself, like you said, in position to go ahead and win the game there.
Sure. And I think that was big for us. We're going to need Aiden going forward. He knows that. And it was nice to see him put that one through and give us the lead. With not very much time left, you give yourself an opportunity to win the game.
All right. Now, some of the other plays, we need to talk about your running back situation. Christian Rhodes gets hurt in that game. You'd be amazed at how many great medical folks are in the stands as they begin to pass around with, some information they think they know. And you already had your backup running back out. Mo stepped in and really became kind of your lead back. Obviously, Harrison can also help you a lot in that area. And Mo played extremely well, obviously, and I think had 75 yards rushing and amped up his productivity a little bit. But how's Christian doing, and what is your running back situation look like right now?
Yeah, so starting with Christian, we're going to continue to evaluate the situation, and I don't want to give the coach speak, but we're day to day with him. I mean, he was up here Friday, he was up here Saturday. We don't know yet, and so hopefully Franklin Evans, who was hurt in week 1, hopefully he's going to start to do some light practicing this week. We're gonna hit the ground on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm gonna get the kids off today. We're gonna watch some more video and be in the weight room, and then do the same thing on Friday. And so hopefully we can get Franklin going. Obviously Mo was a big part of that, down to our third string, tailback, so to speak. It was nice for us to be able to see, and again, we practiced that, so he was able to get in there and get some meaningful reps, and I thought he did a good job. We need to get better all the way around at our perimeter blocking. It wasn't very good the other night. No, it was bad. And so that's one of the things that we're going to take a look at in this off week is we've got to be better on the perimeter. We're an extension of those offensive linemen. And when the ball comes out quick, RPO type stuff, we've got to be able to do a better job on the perimeter blocking, and Mo's got to be better at blocking. I think that's one thing. Talk about Christian is he doesn't do. I mean, his motor runs hot, and when he left the game, not only did we lose our leading rusher and arguably one of the best football players on the field, but at the same time, he's a phenomenal blocker. And so it really helps Mo and Harrison and some of those guys that carry the ball that sometimes not everyone sees. And so we've got to go back to work this week, and we've got to fix a few of those things.
Okay, let's do our offensive player of the week, since we've been talking about the offense quite a bit. Who stood out to you the most when you were able to look at the film?
Yeah, I think a guy that's been really consistent for us and kind of the anchor of our offensive line is King David. He's going to be our offensive player of the week, and as our offense goes, he's going to have to lead that group up there. We've had some changes up there, and he's been really solid. Super proud of him. Put a lot of work in, and he's just going to continue to get better going forward. And so super proud of King David. On the defensive side of the ball, as we look at the tape, and again, I felt like we gave up a last second touchdown, but we held them 14 points, and that's a pretty explosive offense. And so as you kind of try and take a step back and you kind of evaluate where you are, and we're kind of reeling in it right now, after two last minute losses going into district play. I think it gives our team confidence. It gives our staff confidence about our defense. And, guys like Ryan Sherrado played extremely well the other night. Lloyd White, Hollywood played really well. And so those guys stood out on the tape as we went back and looked at that. And so I wish we didn't have a bye week, as crazy as that sounds, because we're ready to roll. But it's the schedule, and it is what it is. And so we'll get back to work, and we'll get some things fixed.
That's the thing. You sort of have to remind them that they put themselves. And I've heard coaches at every level talk about this. You sort of have to. Yeah, it hurts to lose, but you also have to remind them that y'all are in position to win. Like, it's not like if you were like, oh my gosh, we're pretty far off from being a good team. Well,
Sure.
you're not, and you've done it against good competition. I mean, I think Flower Mound improved to 3-0, but I mean, you're knocking right there. And like you said, I mean, hopefully that's a fairly easy thing for the players to grasp, is clean slate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
Sure.
district team. It doesn't matter if they're 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, whatever.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely coaches and adults in general. We're not quite as resilient as those 17-year-olds in there, and so they'll bounce back quick. This is a big week for us with grades come out on Friday, so we've got to take care of that end of it. We got to get some guys healthy. We did have some guys banged up the other night. I know we talked about Christian, but we had some other guys kind of banged up, and so we need to get some guys healthy. And we need to get back to the little things. And like I told the kids this morning, those little things they turn into big things, and I think they understand that, because the big things is the school board at the end. But you're right, we're 0-0. We're getting ready for the Pierce Mustangs, and we'll see what happens in a couple weeks.
I'm told that Wednesday might be meet the teacher night. I think for your players who are listening, parents and all, might be a good time to get up there and get to know your teachers a little bit. Okay.
That sounds great.
Okay. I'm going to run up there and get to know a few folks. We got them reading this senior year, by the way. Some things kick in on that English front. And what is that kind of math? I don't know if you ever took it. Trig, or no, I think it's calculus. I think I somehow skipped that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever had a turn with that. Okay. Unsung Hero Award for for this week?
Yeah, these guys are probably. I mean, they could be the unsung hero every week of the year. We're going to go with our training staff, Jessica Nelson Welch and Richard Macera, and our student trainers. Um, behind the scenes, what they do is not only are they involved in every sport in the whole school, all 17, 18, 20 of them, but man, the amount of work they do just with football alone is it's exceptional. Jessica comes in Thursday night. She gives me an injury report. We sit down and visit where we are, what the plan is. If we got to get kids to the doctor, what the rehab looks like. And then the next morning, at 7:30 in the morning, they're right back up here and she gives me an injury report before they go to class. And so, I met with her today briefly to talk about a few players you know, and then we're not even talking about the every practice and being out in the heat and all the extra stuff that they do behind the scenes is just it's a ton of work, and they do it with a smile on their face. They're fun to be around. Her student trainers they're awesome. The other day I was at a JV game and one of them stopped me and she said she gave me about 5 pictures, and I don't need to go into some of our game plan type of stuff. And she says, "Hey coach, what's this? What's this? What's this?" She starts giving me a bunch of signals. And I was like, "How do you know that?" And she says, "Oh, I watch you guys practice. I'm learning the signals." It's just fun to be
Yeah.
around, great kids that are
Wow.
giving their time and just an unbelievable group that does so much for us.
If they like learning your signals, bring up that documentary on Connor Stallions.
Yeah, that's we may need to borrow your glasses or something like that. So maybe we can figure that out.
These glasses, I think, have really become my calling card here on the Boneyard podcast. Okay, so what is it as you enter the bye week? You kind of gave us what you do this week, but what's the big? I mean, like, hopefully you get healthy. Like you say, you would like to keep playing. Y'all would like to get out there, especially after a loss. And I know how that is, but you got to use this the best. I want you someday to be like Andy Reid in the sense that he has one of those deals. Actually, McCarthy has this too. They're like, 13-1 after a bye. And I hope we look up in about a decade and you have one of those. What were you last year after the bye?
Man, I don't even remember when it was.
Okay, we need to get you to about.
You have to get Glenn Gann on that, I guess.
Yeah, Glenn may be calling us right now. But what's the biggest thing you need to accomplish during the bye? Is it just kind of getting in a rhythm, and then of course you hit the ground running to prepare for Pierce? What's the biggest thing you're hoping to accomplish this week?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, I think you want to look in the mirror and look at yourself first. And so, we ran a self scout after 3 games. We do that, creating tendencies or anything like that offensively. And then, on 2, I think for us, we're going to our staff is going to go ahead and stay up here the next week. So we're going to get the kids out at a good time, and we're gonna be able to work as a staff. Normally our work times are on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. So this is a little unique for us. So we're going to go ahead and stay up here and get to work on Pierce. And so during the week, we're going to really get back to our base offense, base defense, and work on that. And then as the week goes, we'll start doing a little bit more game planning. And towards the end of the week, we'll start rolling that game plan out in little tidbits. We may have a 10-minute segment where we like this in the game plan. So we may really focus on a small part of the game plan, being a little different than coming in on a Monday morning, getting a scout report, and you're putting the whole game plan in one day. Whether we're talking about being in the classroom in the video and then on the field, we're going to be able to kind of install the game plan a little bit more like you would do an offense kind of in fall camp.
Mm.
We're going to really work, this part of the game or that part of the game, and it's in all three phases too. We're going to special teams will be big these next 3 days as we start to break down some of Pierce's special teams stuff, but not only that, looking at ourselves and seeing where we need to get better in that facet. So I think for us, that's probably the number one deal is as you put Flower Mound to bed and you start looking forward at Pierce, you don't want to try and install the game plan or get a game plan in one day. So we try to break it down in those increments, and that's kind of how we'll practice.
All right, I'll be self-scouting the podcast and just making sure we're doing all the right things. And I appreciate it. I want to mention real quick the volleyball team continues to make great progress. I just happened to see this week they had some great stats up there, and Emerson Balderock, who is Balderock is a senior, and I think she has like over 1,000 assists now. El Holly, I saw something on her. She had an unbelievable amount of kills. And so it's a neat thing that the Wildcat Club and Lake Highlands does is put some of those stats, feature some of the different players, and we'll try to bring some of those up as we see those. And then cross country has some extremely talented runners as well. My man, Dylan McCoy, known him forever. He's a great runner. He's going to run in college. And so anyway, a lot of other sports going. Tennis is there. They seem to be out there and they're doing a lot of things. So a lot of, in addition to a great football season that we're in the midst of, a lot of other sports going too.
Yeah, it's super, super awesome to see. Like volleyball had a big district win on Friday night. And as you mentioned, cross country and tennis and swim, just all the different sports. Sometimes people forget that are going on here, and super proud of those young men and women, and look forward to their success as the season goes on in those sports.
All right, and two of our varsity cheer captains stopped by earlier. That's when you were blowing in here, and that was Finley Ragsdale. Parker Mosley stopped by. Parker had to do a little makeup job on her dad to get ready for on camera. But it is the Boneyard podcast, and it will be a bye week. We'll figure out what we want to do for the next episode, and because we always love featuring some of the other sports and doing that. But have a great bye week, and thank you so much. And Lawyer's Title, great to have them as our sponsor this week, and then we'll get you that sports drink. I could just, not that you need any more energy, but I mean, really, I think you're going to be on top of things. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
For Corey Campbell, I'm Matt Mosley. That was the Boneyard Podcast.
We are Rogue Media Sports.